Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today for Advocate Marketing, the Hidden Growth Engine webinar. Today we have our speakers with us are Eliza Fisher from Social Annex and Brian Beck from Guidance. If you have questions during the presentation, please do enter them in the question box, and we will make sure that we address those at the very end. Eliza, for now, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you so much. My name is Eliza Fisher. I'm the Marketing Strategist and Editor here at Social Annex. I specialize in email and content strategy. I've been published in Marketplace, The Huffington Post, Internet Retailer, and more. And I've advised e-commerce companies like Bed Bath & Beyond on content. And I'm an expert in customer loyalty and advocate marketing.
Thanks, Eliza. And hey, everyone. My name is Brian Beck. I'm the Senior Vice President of Strategy here at Guidance. I've been in this field for actually, almost 17 years now, and I've been VP of e-commerce at a bunch of companies, including Pacific Sunwear and Harbor Freight Tools and a bunch of others, and I was also the COO of a company called OvernightPrints.com. I do a lot of speaking and talking about the kinds of topics we're going to be discussing today around the industry at places like IRCE and shop.org and other places like that, and I'm really excited to share with you guys today some findings from our client travels and dive right into some of our content. So we go ahead and move to the agenda. Want to just here's a bit about what we're going to speak to today. A little bit about us. Not going to spend too long on that, but you want to make sure everyone knows who you're talking to here. Defining advocates. Why does advocacy matter for you as a retailer? And then 7 ways to create advocacy amongst your customer base. And then we're going to highlight that with some takeaways and take some questions towards the end. So let me spend just 2 minutes on who Guidance is. So Guidance is a 23-year-old company based in Southern California. We are the only e-commerce solutions provider that enables, blends both strategy with design and technology to drive proven double-digit growth for our clients. And we work with a lot of leading retailers in the mid-market and enterprise, as well as emerging brands, and also B2B companies. We've launched over 500 web applications and thousands of integrations. And every year, our platform powers more than $3.5 billion in transactions across the web. So real excited to be presenting today with Social Annex. Eliza, you want to introduce Social Annex and what you guys are all about?
Sure, thank you. Social Annex is the only software company that offers a complete platform of customer loyalty and advocate marketing solutions, which work together to deliver unified customer data and seamless customer experiences that transform browsers into advocates. Our solutions include login services, customer loyalty, sharing and referrals, user-generated content, visual commerce, and contests. Our clients, who include e-commerce and omni-channel merchants like DB and Olympus, see an average revenue increase of 5 to 10%, conversion rate lifts of 20%, and tenfold increases in social activity. We're headquartered here in Los Angeles and have offices in the UK and India, and we have over 150 employees serving over 250 clients.
Awesome. So, well, thanks, Eliza. You know, Guidance and Social Annex were partners, and together we provide a really powerful digital commerce platform. You know, as Eliza was describing, Social Annex is a leader in empowering customer advocacy, and it's really by uniting customer-generated content and digital activity together for retailer sites, and incorporates things like social login and loyalty features and other things we're going to cover. And when you pair that with our award-winning creative web development and on multiple platforms and our acceleration services that we provide on the strategy side, we enable merchants to really supercharge their e-com business. And you know, we share clients like Murad and Anastasia Beverly Hills and a number of others that have used our platforms together. So real benefits for merchants of using us as a combined platform. So we want to now get into the meat of our presentation, talk about, you know, kind of who are advocates, and Eliza, I'm going to turn it over to you to speak to some of our key points here.
Thanks so much. So, who exactly are advocates, and why do we need them? Advocates are people who are talking positively about your brand. Here are some different points of view. According to Jay Baer, advocates are volunteer marketers. Augie Ray of Forrester defines an advocate as a person who not only buys from a brand but will act to promote, protect, and help it. David Berkowitz of 360i says that an advocate is someone who needs no incentive to tell others great things about you. More specifically, advocates are consumers who connect on social, refer friends to your business, join communities and forums related to your products or brand, answer product questions, write reviews, fill out surveys, share photos, and more. In short, they're providing social proof that your brand is worthwhile. Now, people actually want to be advocates. The majority of advocates recommend businesses because of good experiences, while 37% do so out of a desire to help others. Only 1% do so to receive freebies. 73% of millennials feel it's their responsibility to help friends make smart purchase decisions. 25% of people choose to engage with the company because they want to join its community of fans. And 70% of Instagram users will consent to brands reusing their photos on their sites when asked. Now, this enthusiasm, which you can fuel and harness, propels incredible growth.
Yeah, it's really it's the power of referral marketing, and this is often unappreciated by us retailers. You know, when you look at some of the fastest growing and most successful companies in recent history, and even over time, much of their growth is powered by referral marketing. That means customers they're talking with one another. If you think about your own consumer behavior when you recommend a brand or a product to someone, that's really, really powerful. And it's all based on advocacy and then creating advocates. It's not only a way to drive rapid growth, but it's also one of the most cost-effective forms of marketing there is if you can harness it. Let me give you a little bit of data here. About 30 years ago, Bain & Company set out to understand how this could all be measured. And what they came up with was this methodology they called Net Promoter Score, NPS. Some of you may have heard of it. This was a way to measure how much referral and advocacy a company is getting based on one simple question: how likely are you to refer us to a friend or family member, rating from 1 to 10? So 9s and 10s are considered promoters. They then take a total percent of promoters and subtract detractors, people who don't like your business, 0 to 6. To arrive at a score, they call it the NPS score. And what they found with this approach was that merchants with the highest NPS scores grew more than 2 times the industry average. The customers of these businesses, they buy more, they stay longer in-store and on the web. They refer friends, and really importantly, they provide feedback to your business on how to continue your improvement. This is a great way for you to measure how effective you're being in creating and leveraging advocates for your business. You can measure functions within your business. You can measure overall performance of your business in different channels. It's a really neat tool that I've used in multiple companies. So I'll break this up with a little bit of humor here, because a lot of this comes down to trust. So this is a dentist, and apparently the patient doesn't trust him very much. So we don't want you to be in this situation. So it really is about trust. And consumers trust their friends and family even more than merchants. So if you go to the next slide, even more than advertising, third-party testimonials, and other services, 92% of consumers trust brand advocates. So looking under the covers a bit further, really beyond measuring advocacy, you find some of these reasons why advocacy creates these high growth rates I just referred to. And these are all statistics here from our partner, Social Annex. The big driver here is word of mouth. You see here that the word of mouth is behind up to almost 50%, or can be up to 50% of purchasing decisions. It generates 2 times the sales of paid ad efforts and converts up to 10 times higher than offers shared by businesses. Remember the statistic that Eliza just shared about a very small percentage are doing it for freebies, right? Referring for freebies. That's not what motivates people. This is a really powerful thing to harness, and it can translate it to impact for you. Advocacy shows real results. Here's numbers from Social Annex and some of the experiences that you guys have seen over Eliza on your side from some of your clients. increasing revenue by up to 10%, boosting purchase frequency by 5 to 20%, augmenting AOV for loyalty members by 20%, social activity, conversion rate lifts. It's really impressive when you can harness this. So, you know, the net of all this is that your superior customer service can create advocates. But, you know, as Bain puts it here, an outstanding customer experience creates promoters, and promoters are more valuable to a company than other customers. But the thing I want to mention here, too, is that is an important caveat, is that as merchants, your customer experience needs to be founded on great product or services that are differentiated and that meet customer needs. Without this, at the center of it all, you can do a lot of other things, but you know, and we're going to describe some of those other things. You won't succeed. So you got to make sure you've got that right first. You've got something that people want to buy, and if you're in business, there, you know, you've got some clear evidence of that. So assuming that you have your product or service fundamentals in place, you can then ask yourself 3 questions and translate these into questions that you ask your customers to understand how well you're delivering a differentiated, you know, fantastic experience that will create these advocates. And here are our 3 key questions. To what degree are you able to accomplish what you wanted to? This is what you would ask your customer. How easy was it to interact with the company? And then how did you feel about those interactions? And these can be used as a foundation for understanding your customer and how they perceive the experience that you're delivering. And so it comes down to really the 3 common characteristics, which are efficiency, ease, enjoyment. And this is how industry leaders are delivering their experiences. We're going to share some examples in a few minutes. But when you look at companies like Amazon, they're focused on aspects of the experience that align really well with their brand promise. You know, Amazon isn't always the lowest price. They have tremendous algorithms that'll change pricing in real time, et cetera, to optimize, but they're not always going to be the lowest price. For Amazon, it's more about efficiency and convenience for the customer. Another example, REI, which is a company that we admire, they're delivering an amazing experience to its customers by relating to the customer based on their enthusiasm for, you know, specific outdoor activities. For example, if you try buying a pair of hiking boots from REI, you'll get follow-up content from them via email with great places to hike and use the product right in your area. It's not necessarily about the sale, it's about the use of the product and the enthusiasm. So how does this all translate? There was a study done a few years back that looked specifically at experience. It's a book published called Firms of Endearment. Some of you may have heard me talking about this in the past because this is really, I think, brings it home. You know, when you look at companies that are focused on share of heart, the study was said, boy, when these companies really put emphasis on finding a place in the customer's heart and projecting a genuine passion for customers and connect with them at a deep level, like we just described with REI, they exceed market performance in terms of overall valuation of the company. Now, that these are a lot of larger companies, REI happens actually to be among them. And so the value of those companies exceeds others by a large degree. You can see in the chart there, including other Fortune 500 or S&P 500 companies, even companies that are in the good to great category, which is another commonly known study. So really exciting stuff. So enough about the theory. Let's go ahead and translate this all into things that you can use in your business. You know, with your products and service fundamentals in place, making that caveat. We're now going to share 7 ways that you can transform your business or your casual browsers from just browsers to true advocates. Eliza, you want to kick this off here?
Thank you. So it's likely that you already have advocates that are talking about your business and referring their friends to it, like Brian had mentioned before. So you should harness and systematize this powerful yet informal marketing by implementing a streamlined referral program. Referred customers are more likely to convert, they usually spend more, and they have a 25% higher lifetime value on average. And with a referral program, you not only provide a mechanism for customers to make these valuable recommendations, but you have a method to track who's referring and who's being referred. And this is one of the many ways in which you can pinpoint your strongest advocates as well as your fledgling customers in order to help them along their journeys. Now, your referral program should be more than mobile friendly. It should work flawlessly across all your channels, including in-store redemptions if that's an option for you. When customers make referrals, you should be able to let them send them in any manner they like, whether it's copy and paste, text, share on social, or email. We recently implemented an Omni-channel refer a friend solution for BD in which the referred friend is able to get their discount on an in-store purchase just by giving their email. Now, incentives are vital for referrals too. An overwhelming majority of people will make referrals in exchange for small incentives, usually discounts being the most popular. Your incentives should always be chosen with your audience in mind, of course. Here at Social Annex, we usually recommend designing your referral as a dollar amount off rather than as a percentage off, so users can refer as many friends as they want and get rewarded for it each time up to a reasonable limit without there being any issue of combining percentages. And when your referral program is done right, you'll see results. One of our clients, for example, got over 23,000 new email addresses in 6 months with Share and Save and is seeing a 9.7 conversion rate for its users. A Refer a Friend client of ours, meanwhile, has gathered over 100,000 new email addresses in 6 months and has a 27% conversion rate. And just the other day, I was calculating the ROI for another sharing and referrals client, and it's at 10 to 1 at the moment. So things are looking good for companies that implement referral programs. Now, our second point is to educate and inform your audience as a way of empowering your advocates. This approach can be taken in any variety of ways. One trustworthy method is employing a questions and answers solution on your site. Doing so can increase conversion by up to 35%. Questions and answers let your passionate customers, as well as your product experts, educate curious shoppers. Here we have an example from skis.com where more experienced skiers and snowboarders can give advice to novices right on product pages. Another way to educate your audience and earn goodwill is to teach them about subjects that are related to your company but aren't necessarily specifically about your products. So, for example, Reformation is an environmentally conscious clothing company with a huge social presence. Part of the reason for that is that Reformation's marketing team tries to educate their audience about sustainability, not just in fashion, but in other realms too. So they put educational material on their website, on their social media posts, and even on packaging and clothing tags. This has really resonated with their audience, who promotes Reformation's message practically everywhere. So here you can see some examples of their advocates sharing their messages on social media. And more concretely, their sales have been tripling every year since 2013. And one more way of educating is videos. So videos are, of course, a really hot channel, and this company called Ipsy uses them masterfully. So Ipsy is a company created by Michelle Phan, who you probably know as a massive YouTube celebrity who gained fame doing makeup tutorial videos on the site. Her business sends customers what it calls a glam bag of beauty product samples every month. It now has over 1 million customers and made over $150 million last year. Ipsy's how-to videos are central to the company's success, and they have a wide network of influencers with huge followings who educate their audiences about everything beauty. Brian, I think you have an example as well.
Yeah, I do. So, looking at different product categories, another great example of educating and informing using video is Harbor Freight. When I was running e-commerce there, one of the things that we did was we implemented a product video program, and we built a product video studio right in our office, and we generated hundreds of these videos. And the reason we did it was because the products, as you can imagine, they're tools and accessories and winches in this case, automotive components, things of that nature. They're complex products, and by communicating them through video, we were able to more completely show the utilization of the product in the field, etc., as well as the benefits and features of the product. And we saw 3 to 4 times conversion lift on products consistently when we added videos to the product pages. Here's an example of a lift in action, or winch in action on the front of a Jeep. So, speaking again to real tangible results from doing this and educating. So the other, the next one I want to chat about bit is want to share is transparency. And transparency is really critical. You know, we say be a window, not a door here. It's really critical to successfully connecting with today's customer. You know, if you think about word of mouth, amplification has really occurred through digital means like social media. Consumers can really see through non-authentic communication and merchant claims that are dubious faster than they ever could before, right? So, you know, for years we were scared of, retailers were frightened of product reviews. People were concerned that by providing a non-brand voice on the web, you know, on the website, it would hurt rather than help sales because the message couldn't be controlled. But really interesting what's happened over the last 5 to 8 years with product reviews is that, you know, people have realized that product reviews as a merchant can really help you. Ratings lift your revenue by an average of 7%, and 90% of survey respondents claim that reviews influence their buying decision. And so these things, they work when you think about them transactionally, but and a lot of it comes back to the transparency. Transparency can be helpful really on any scale. Reviews are one way to do it. Then we'll go into some other ways in a minute. You want to show us some examples, Eliza, some other ways?
Yeah, thank you. So like you said with reviews, we have a few best practices we want to just lay out first. It's crucial to keep customers informed about what they're buying and who they're buying it from. So you want to ensure that your reviews are optimized for mobile and for your app. 39% of in-store shoppers read reviews before making purchases in person, and even more so do for things like appliances, electronics, men's clothing, and toys and games. So here's a client example from Dr. Brandt Skincare. The reviews contain tons of information and are easily navigable on mobile. And if shoppers are in stores trying out one of Dr. Brandt's products, which is pretty likely for, you know, an expensive cosmetics line, they can easily access more information through reviews like these. And you want to make sure to make as much information as possible available in your reviews. So you should use categories like pros and cons, ability level, and common uses. And you should make these fields optional, as we don't want to dissuade users from reviewing by asking for too much information. That said, adding all these kinds of tags and fields makes it much easier for shoppers to find information that's relevant to them. So for example, this review is for a countertop mixer. I don't have very advanced cooking skills, so I would probably look for reviews that are written by beginner chefs. If I'm looking for an everyday item, I want to see that people use the product frequently. If I have a small kitchen, I might be concerned by the cons here, that the mixer is large and heavy. So all of this information helps match the best products with the best customers, thereby reducing returns and creating happy customers. And you should remember that reviews aren't just a tool, they're also content. You should make the most of them by putting them in emails, showing them off via in-store displays, and highlighting them on product pages. I love what Target has done here. So their designers have made the star rating for this ottoman on its product page really noticeable, and they put the most helpful review right below the product picture, even before the product details and the add to cart button. And so this really provides the social proof that shoppers are looking for when they're trying to make a purchase. And like we said, transparency can mean a lot of different things for a lot of different companies. And so one other important way is to keep customers updated on their orders. Tons of e-commerce businesses do this with shipment trackers, but Domino's has really gone above and beyond with their pizza tracker. It's an engaging and funny solution, and it's gained a lot of social clout. While Domino's is somewhat uncommon in that their order fulfillment time is so much faster than a soft goods or hard goods business, you can still take inspiration from them and make the process of updating customers a lot more interactive and fun than, you know, just the standard kind of UPS tracking email. And you can implement transparency on a much wider scale too. Everlane, a clothing company, practices what they call radical transparency. The company doesn't just make information about its supply chain, factories, markup, transportation costs, and so on available to the public. It promotes it. And consumers love Everlane because they feel like they're getting a fair deal from a company that respects them. And so here we can see some examples of the kind of social comments that they're getting. They get tons of press, and as a 5-year-old company, they made $50 million last year and are predicting double that for the year ending 2016. So with that, I'll send it back to you for a minute, Brian.
Yeah, thanks, Eliza. I love that pizza tracker. We use that all the time in my house. My 4-year-old loves to watch the pizza showing up. So, well, good. So, working for a cause has become another powerful method to create customer advocates. It really helps brands become bigger than just products and transactions, and allows customers to really feel a kind of a personal connection to the brand. And it really just simply gives the customer something to advocate about. One example, a little tangential to B2C retail, but shows how the concept can apply, is IBM's corporate services, where they were able to command a 300% ROI over 7 years from some of these efforts related to this. Corporate social responsibility policy, it can lift prices by up to 20%, and 66% are willing to pay more for products with strong, CSR or corporate social responsibility policies and messaging. So it's really quite amazing, but you have to do it in a way that's authentic and that doesn't kind of, the consumers, again, to that transparency comment, consumers made to feel like it's something you really are doing and believe in as a corporate culture. One great example, which is often imitated, is Tom's Shoes. Probably everyone knows this example. Tom's grew from a startup in 2006 to a company valued at over $600 million last year. And they did it using a one-for-one approach. So when Tom sells a pair of shoes, a new pair of shoes is given to an impoverished child in developing countries, and today in the U.S. as well. And when when we first built the Tom Shoes site, we thought this concept was crazy. But boy, we were surprised. It was novel at the time, but it demonstrates the power of a cause-based business and how advocates who really love a business model like this can drive massive growth in a really short period of time. So exciting to see. Eliza, you want to share some other examples?
Yeah, thank you, Brian. So AT&T, obviously, it's a corporation without social or environmental impact as a founding principle like Tom's. However, they, like many businesses, have had really successful ancillary corporate social responsibility projects. So their It Can Wait campaign calls upon drivers to pledge to not text and drive. They've enlisted tons of celebrities and other companies, even competitors like Verizon, to promote the message. It Can Wait has become a recognizable slogan in its own right, and the project has collected almost 9 million pledges so far. It's gained AT&T enormous goodwill. Now, another way to get your customers to feel committed to and proud of your business is to collaborate creatively with them. You can do this by having them help out with product development and contributing to your image with photos and other kinds of content. Visual commerce is one of the easiest ways to do this because it systematizes customer contributions of photos. When customers get featured on your site or in other marketing materials, they feel a sense of community with your brand. Visual commerce raises conversion rates by 5 to 7% on average, and it raises click-through rates by about 15 to 20%. One of our clients found that each photo uploaded or sourced added $6 of revenue, while another one found that each photo added $10 of revenue. Fry is a client of ours that's seen a lot of success with its visual commerce program. It celebrates its customers' creativity in photography and styling, and they're more than happy to take part in it and get this kind of recognition. While visual commerce is a daily collaboration, you can collaborate with customers in a more attention-getting way too. So one example I love is of Lay's Potato Chips, who for the past 3 years has been doing a contest called Do Us a Flavor, in which customers come up with their ideal combination for the next flavor of Lay's. Once thousands of flavors are submitted, Lay's chooses the 3 finalists and allows the public to vote on the best one. The winner gets $1 million. The campaign generates tons of word-of-mouth marketing every year, and more importantly, when customers play an important role in the marketing and development of a new product, they feel like they're a valued part of the community. And obviously this example, it's a bit unique, but it can be translated somewhat easily into the e-commerce world. I think you have an example here too, Brian.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, $1 million, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's amazing. I think I'm going to submit a flavor. You know, a great example of blending commerce and content is one of our clients here, CCS. CCS is a retailer of skate and action sports apparel and gear, and they've been growing at double digits every year. And you know, the way they're doing that is staying true to the lifestyle surrounding their products. So if you look at their website, it features a digital sort of what we call kind of a magalog in old-fashioned terms. It's a magazine plus a catalog, but it's all digital, right? And it highlights famous skaters with authentic grassroots content surrounding that whole skater lifestyle, and then they tie it all into the company's product, and it really helps customers tie to the brand, create advocates, and come back to the business, not just to buy products, but also to find out what's happening with the lifestyle. So understanding what your customer needs at each moment that matters throughout their journey with their brand, right? This buzzword, customer journey, it's really just the points at which they interact with your brand. But delivering what they need at each of those kind of touch points is really important to creating a great customer experience. Here I've got a typical customer journey. Thank you to my friends at Charming Charlie. I use their journey here as an example. And it really starts with discovery of the brand, through purchase, and return and advocate for the brand. So, and the point here I want to make is that if you don't get the first 4 steps right, the 5th won't happen. The 5th being return and advocate. And the key here is research, understanding, for you, understanding your customer, really is at the base of all this. And that can be done with things like customer surveys, analytics, and most importantly, really talking to your customer. It always amazes me how few retailers actually do take that step and talk to the customer. And what we see happening in the business is that the mobile device is really the center unifying force in this journey. And this is some data from Demandware from my friend Rick Kinney, and it shows that year over year, mobile carts are up 70%. You guys have probably heard me say this before. It's an important, but it's so important. Mobile carts are really the new wish list and the connection between stores and online, and it's a really clear sign of shopping intent. You look at how do you harness this. One of our clients is a company called Johnny Was. So what we're seeing is across the board and how they're harnessing this, 73% of shoppers are using online carts to store items to buy later, right? So noticing this, Johnny Was said, boy, I want to capitalize on this behavior and use abandoned cart emails to remind customers of what's in their cart. There's no promotion here. It's just a reminder with a scarcity message. Complete your order before the items are gone. And it drives very nice conversion rates on return customers. Both, and they do this cross-channel too. It's not just online, but it's also in-store as well, reminding them. Eliza, I think you have some examples you wanted to share here too.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. So we really see mobile as a unifying force when we look at Instagram shopping through a solution like Shopic.me, which monetizes your Instagram account. You can harness the excitement of your followers and turn it into measurable traffic and real sales by doing this. It requires zero implementation time on the part of the client. So what you do is you place a link in your Instagram bio and post a photo as you normally would. Then you associate the photos in a dashboard, and they're up on a shoppable mobile gallery that mirrors your Instagram. All the images link out to your product pages, so shoppers immediately know which products you're sharing on your Instagram and can then buy them. And this takes no implementation time on the client's end and easily monetizes social and seamlessly drives traffic to the site, where once again they can get these mobile visitors from Instagram or other social sites right to the main e-commerce site and get those carts going. Site visitors referred by Shopic tend to spend about 30% more time on site and view 30% more pages, which translates to larger order values too.
Yeah, it's interesting though. The fact of the matter is that retailers are not making it super easy though still for consumers to create accounts and check out. In fact, 53% of mobile revenues come from guest users, and 97% of mobile carts are abandoned. So there's a lot of opportunity here to do some things about this. Eliza, you want to share some of those examples?
Yeah, so mobile retailers are losing out on sales and data thanks to these complicated account creation and checkout processes. Now, some customers are always going to prefer to check out as guests, whether it's for, privacy reasons, not wanting to get marketing emails, and so on. And that's fine. But merchants can do more to increase conversion and get more valuable data by implementing social login on their sites. Now, the retailer on the left has customers go to a sidebar menu, select sign in, go to a new page, and then enter information in 7 fields to create an account. It's a relatively lengthy process, and it's not as easy as it could be. And not that it's my territory, but even the design is boring. So when we're talking about a mobile browser, going through all these different steps to even create a shopping cart to save, it's just taking way too long. And in contrast, the business on the right, which is Anastasia Beverly Hills, enables sign-ins and logins right from the top menu bar and gives customers the options of creating accounts and signing in with Facebook, Google, or Amazon. It's a much speedier way of moving visitors from guests to registered users, and from that point they can save their shopping carts across devices, merchants can send them cart abandonment emails, and part of the checkout process is already complete. Now, I know that social login isn't a new solution, but the ROI that merchants get from it is really remarkable. So one of our apparel clients is seeing a 77% conversion rate among social login users. Another apparel client is getting a 53% conversion rate. A cosmetics merchant is getting a 43% conversion rate. And an electronics retailer is seeing a 21%. So really it can go very, very high up, but all of these are quite outstanding conversion rates.
Here's a really notable example from one of our clients, Soul Society. It also speaks to our earlier point about understanding the customer journey and doing research, right? So, and then also testing. One of the things we found with Soul Society after doing some customer research and a usability audit and testing is there were blockers in the checkout that tied very closely to how they were enabling customers to log in simply on the mobile device, simply by enabling guest checkout and eliminating a checkout requirement. Their conversion rate for customers to register, their conversion rate lifted by over 80%, and their online revenue went up by 20%. It's really incredible. It sounds very simple, but without understanding what the blockers are and easing checkout, to your earlier points, Eliza, there's some real opportunity, real revenue gains here. So it gets back to our earlier point about research. What's our next action item, Eliza?
That's just an incredible example. I mean, it really just speaks to the power of giving customers options and understanding what they want. So our last point here, and perhaps our most important when it comes to fostering advocacy, is to link advocate marketing actions to your loyalty program. We found that the best course of action is to use your program to incentivize advocate marketing actions, and we call this approach advocate loyalty. So instead of a traditional loyalty program in which shoppers are only rewarded based on the dollars they spend, advocate loyalty programs also grant points for actions like subscribing to your email newsletter, connecting on social, sharing products on social, referring friends, writing reviews, answering questions, hashtagging photos, and so on. Of course, doing this draws attention to and incentivizes these advocate marketing actions. It also makes earning points easier, so shoppers reach reward levels more quickly and then return again to buy faster as well. We've had several clients that have switched from traditional points for purchase loyalty models with us to advocate loyalty models, and they've increased their revenue from loyalty programs by a range of 300 to 370%, and they have augmented membership by 11 to 88%. And our clients that have seen these increases have experienced them in 12 months or fewer. So it's a really fast change, and it's a way to really jumpstart not just customer loyalty, but every step of the customer journey. So one of our clients, Spa Week, is a program that's interesting as it rewards customers for checking into spas on Foursquare. And this is a really fun way of bridging the omni-channel gap while making the brand more visible on social media. Olympus Camera's customer loyalty program links in-store and online with the Rewards Tracker app. It lets Olympus customers use and accrue their loyalty points at any Olympus retailer like Best Buy. That way, the Olympus loyalty experience is consistent even on channels that Olympus doesn't own.
Yeah, and then creating loyalty can cross channels as well, as you were describing. You know, one of our clients is a company called Robert Graham, which makes beautiful men's shirts and other apparel, and it's a loyalty program called the Collectors Club. We built functionality that lets customers upload receipts from stores like Nordstrom and Neiman Marcus and still get credit for purchasing Robert Graham merchandise. And they can do this on mobile or on a desktop. It's really a nice driver of integration of both the loyalty program with allowing them to shop across multiple channels to stay loyal to the brand. Eliza, what kind of results are retailers seeing from loyalty programs across the board? I think you have some stats.
I do. So they're seeing a lot of success in merging advocate marketing tactics with customer loyalty. A novelty brand that's working with us is getting a 35-to-1 ROI, while a jewelry client is getting a 10% increase in repeat purchase rate thanks to incentivizing these advocate marketing actions with loyalty. A cookware client of ours that rewards referrals with loyalty points is getting a 67% conversion rate among referred shoppers. And an electronics client of ours got over 90,000 loyalty signups in fewer than 6 months and has an ROI over 20-to-1. A cosmetics client saw their average order value increase by 10%. So really everyone that we work with here in terms of doing advocate loyalty is getting really tangible results. So I think you have some comments to kind of wrap us up here, Brian.
I do, and actually just to lay on to that point you just made, one of the things we did at Pacific Sunwear when I was running e-commerce there, we rolled out a loyalty program that was tied to a mobile app, and when we turned on the loyalty components of the app for cross-channel loyalty, it drove over 1 million signups. It was really impressive. So you know the power is there if to use loyalty to create advocates for your brand. I've lived it firsthand, so just reinforcing that a bit. So some of our takeaways. So Deloitte conducted a study of hundreds of brands and more than 30,000 customers late in 2015, and it sums up a lot of this for us and around some key actions that you can take as a retailer to drive true advocacy. So it surrounds the themes we've just been talking about: keeping it fresh, staying in touch, being transparent. We talked a lot about examples of companies that are using that to be authentic and not put a false face on your brand. Being exciting and also sharing a point of view is another piece that that's important. It's okay for you as a retailer to have a point of view and participate in the discussion. Spending quality time and being empathetic with your customer, providing support, giving back, and then being authentic. And those are just a few of the key pointers from Deloitte, and we'll make you'll have access to this slide when we after the presentation today. So that kind of wraps up our webinar today, guys. In terms of the prepared portion, we would love to take some questions. Here's our contact information. Holly, do we have any questions from the audience? Holly, I think you're still unmuted.
Yes, I was. Sorry about that.
Nope, no problem.
Yes, we do have a couple of questions from the audience. Thank you, Eliza and Brian. That was a great presentation. How are retailers tracking the impact of mobile on other channels like in-store purchases?
Oh, yeah, that's a great one. Eliza, you want me to take that one?
Yeah, why don't you do that one?
Okay. So some of our clients, that's the $1 million question, right? As you create advocates, how do you know how they are behaving across channels. And it's kind of the example I gave a few minutes ago, in some ways, with the PacSun example, where we're enabling customers through the loyalty program to obtain credit against their loyalty across all channels and use their loyalty both in store and online. And the key to that was mobile, and tying it together with a mobile device. So that's one way to do it, is to tie it into your mobile device. You know, the other ways that we've seen and we've helped retailers do this is by looking at tracking back to a CRM database to understand customer behavior across channels. The key there is doing things like have an emailed receipt from the store so that you can tie it back to your database, tie the transaction back to your database. So tracking the impact is certainly trickier as you look at you know, the store channel in particular. If you're a pure play retailer, being just online, it's a little easier. You can see the difference in your advocate behavior versus your overall customer base. But anyway, that's one way to do it, and there's software available in the market to help you do those things.
Wonderful, thank you. Another question I have is, you mentioned user-generated content several times. What are the best practices for marketing with content that shoppers create?
I think I can do that one. Thank you, Holly. So yeah, user-generated content, you know, especially photos and videos that consumers are sharing on places like Instagram. You know, obviously that's a huge marketing tactic for a lot of retailers right now. And because you're dealing with, you know, assets that your brand itself did not create, you want to make sure that everything is above board. And so when users submit that kind of content directly to your site, you know, it's straightforward enough as long as they agree to your terms and conditions. But when you're sourcing it from places like Instagram or other social media platforms, there are two kinds of consent that you can work with to obtain consumer videos and pictures. One is called implicit consent, which is the type we don't recommend, which assumes that when consumers use a company's hashtag, you know, if it's something like hashtag Bed Bath & Beyond, that I'm therefore consenting to Bed Bath & Beyond using my photos. So that's a little iffy, and so we recommend using explicit consent, which it consists of just outright asking consumers to use those photos. And when you have a visual commerce solution that's sourcing the photos and videos for you, you can usually automate those kinds of requests and keep track of them in a dashboard.
Perfect, thank you. The next question I have is, in your opinion, how important are mobile apps for retailers in connecting with customers? Are you guys really seeing retailers deploy their own mobile app, or are they focusing their efforts on mobile web interactions?
Yeah, it's a good question. Sounds like we got somebody on the line who's thinking about, you know, tying mobile together here. I could take that one, Eliza, if you want. So mobile app, you know, the use case for mobile apps for retailers does tie largely to our topic today, which is, you know, advocacy and loyalty. And again, getting back to the example I gave earlier about, you know, Pacific Sunwear as one key, you know, use case for that. The mobile app takes advantage of, you know, device-specific functionality, and it allows you to store things, including loyalty, and it really makes it seamless for a retailer and for a customer to transact across all those channels. And so loyalty is one of the key ways. And if you're a multi-channel retailer also, the other thing to think about is using the mobile app, as we highlighted earlier, you know, where you can remind customers of what's in their cart. You can use push notifications as they move into store if you have stores. There are ways to use a mobile app to drive traffic and to interact with your customers and be relevant and reinforce the advocacy that they are, you know, they are engendering for your brand. So and as it relates to mobile web, I mean, what we see is, you know, really in general, talk about responsive design as the best, optimal approach. Google has our back on that. So, it's responsive design and mobile web is certainly critical. And, the web is moving towards app-like behavior, although it's still not, all the way there. There's some aspects of mobile apps which are unique and, really make it, really make apps the way to do things like loyalty and push notifications and others. So there's an app is a nice way to build out your advocacy program and a platform for it. So hopefully that answers the question.
That's wonderful. Thank you. The next question I have is, how long does it take to implement an omni-channel loyalty program?
I can field that one if you'd like. So for our clients, the typical timeline is about 3 months for strategy, implementation, design. Then we usually recommend launching a pilot program in certain stores if the client's an omni-channel business. And so usually, from the first meeting to the end of the pilot, we're talking about 6 months. And then, of course, if there are any adjustments that the client needs to make or that our team thinks should be made, those would be factored into.
Perfect.
What else do you have, Holly? Anything else? Any other questions?
Yeah, we've got time for maybe 2 more, if that works for you.
Sure.
You mentioned doing good is a good way to build advocacy, like what Tom's Shoes did and how they had success.
Right.
How realistic is it for a business to really differentiate using this give back model, particularly an established business, and really have them still be seen as being authentic?
Yeah, that's the trick. Do you want me to take a pass at this one?
Sure.
Eliza? Okay, so it's interesting because there's been a lot of businesses that have kind of emulated what the example we gave with Tom's Shoes earlier, and some of them have been successful, some not. I think the key is it's important to be authentic about your desire to support something. If you're an established business, what you don't want to be seen as is somebody who's sort of adding it on because it's trendy. Hey, we're going to support this cause because it's something that people we sort of think will just generate more sales. People will see through that. You need to be aligned and somewhat and certainly authentic, and then communicate that in an authentic way. And one way to do that is some of the examples that Eliza was sharing about companies that using the consumer, they can let the consumer speak for you. So, and that's in some ways it's a way to market, but frankly, it's a way to demonstrate that you are being authentic. Is when your customers are speaking about you on social media, but hey, I feel great about the purchase I just made. I think there was an example in there from Reformation, Eliza, that was saying, hey, I feel great about my purchase from Reformation. I'm really making a difference in conservation, I think it was. And so I think you've got to, number one, be authentic and have something that you really can get behind and not do it in a half-hearted way. And I think it's possible. I mean, we showed some examples earlier. Eliza, you shared some that were, that showed established businesses. I think one of them was AT&T. You can do these things that are, and bring them to market. And if you're transparent and authentic with it, the customer will reward you. Anything you want to add to that, Eliza?
Yeah, I think it's totally right to say that it has to be a cause that seems organic to the company and is organic. I think businesses, when they're approaching this, need to think about what sort of unique contribution they can put forward. So one thing that just came to my mind is Sephora, who obviously they're an established huge company. I think it was earlier this year, or perhaps last year, they announced that they were doing a startup incubator for women-led businesses. And, that's sort of, it's not exactly a space that's natural to Sephora, but it is something where it relates enough to their kind of message of, strong female empowerment and kind of linking up what their customers are interested in other fields with something that Sephora can do to help them.
Awesome.
That's wonderful. Thank you. We've got time for one more question. What platforms are the best for integrating content into an e-com website, including managing the content?
Yeah. Best is relative, right? I mean, Social Annex does a lot of that sort of thing, right? Right, Eliza?
Yes, we do. I mean, it depends on what type of content specifically we're talking about, whether it's coming from, something submitted on site, whether you're sourcing it from social. Do you have any more context to that, or? It's also something I could follow up on later.
Yeah. What I've seen is, yeah, I think if they're referring, I can expand a bit maybe on that. Again, yes, not a lot of context there, but so if you get any more, Holly, let us know. But we share the example of CCS, for example, right? And that's when you think about that kind of content, which is content from that you're creating and managing, that is kind of lifestyle content. That is a lot of that kind of content can be supported in some ways by the e-commerce platform. In this case, Magento with CCS. When you get into more complex types of content management, you generally need a content management system, which could be a WordPress or a Drupal, or there's some more enterprise-grade solutions. So it kind of depends on the need. But I think from a social standpoint and user-generated content, a lot of what we shared today, Social Annex handles really well. So, reviews and login and all the things that we talked through today. So I think, the two together, getting all the way back to our commerce, platform slide at the very beginning, really provide a powerful, meaning guidance with a platform like Magento plus Social Annex really provides a really powerful way to manage content and many types of content. So hopefully that answers the question.
That's wonderful.
I think, Holly, are we out of time? We're just
Yep.
out, right? All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening. We appreciate your questions. Some really good ones in there. Eliza, it's been a pleasure doing this webinar with you. And our contact information is here on the screen. Please reach out to us if there's anything else. And Holly, are we going to be emailing this this presentation out, or it'll be on our website, right?
Yes, it'll be on our website, and the Social Annex team will be emailing out a link as well.
Got it. Great. All right. Well, great.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Brian, Holly.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Good luck out there.